Hi friends, this is Don here, drblast.com. A few months ago, maybe longer than that, maybe about a year ago, I don't think, not quite that long, I can't remember when I got this car in, but this is the 68 Camaro that the other video I made on the first day or two of having the car, I made a video, and I was at this approximate position of the car in this same orientation the vehicle was, but it had no floor, the dash was not in it, and I was getting ready to media blast the entire vehicle. But right now you're looking at the same car with a new floor in it, and I'm going to get the camera and show you around. New floor. From this point forward, if you remember from the video, this is original floor right here. This is original. This is the replacement floor pan that a previous owner replaced. They hacked it in. They did a very bad job putting it in. So I didn't take it out. I just fixed what was there, cut out the old welds, re-welded, where and as required. And this patch right here was the hole. There was actually a hole in the floor. They just riveted a piece of metal on top of and put sealant around it. That's not acceptable to me, so I fixed that. And these brackets for the gas tank were just riveted on. So I removed the rivets, we drilled these out, and we plug welded these onto the floor. So this black is the undercoating that the owner of the car came by and he applied it. They call it a sweat equity job. That's what my Uncle John calls these kind of jobs. Whereas let the owner come and do a little bit. I don't normally do that, but this case, because I've done this many times, I had other things to do. And plus I like getting the owners involved in their vehicles because they're just paying. So if they can come and do something that they feel empowered with, I always like to do that for them. So he supplied the materials, I supplied the gun, and he did the taping up and masked the vehicle up and sprayed this on. And it came out really well. I'm very impressed with it. It's a little thick in some areas, but it's better to probably be too thick than too thin. Even though it should be a little bit thinner in some areas, and I'll show you those in a moment, but that's okay. So this car is nearing completion. The quarters have already been on several times and fit properly, along with the new wheelhouses that I manufactured, put in and modified, the Mini-Tub kit. So these are significantly wider than stock and a little bit wider than the DSE Mini-Tub kit. What I did on this car, this is the third one, the third Camaro that I've done the Mini-Tub kit to. I told the owner, do not buy the Mini-Tub wheelhouses. Just the only wheelhouses you need to buy are brand new stock outer wheelhouses. And he said, why? And I said, well, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep your stock inner wheelhouse, your stock outer wheelhouse, and I'm going to graft the new outer wheelhouse to the original outer wheelhouse. And I think I said that correctly. And the stock inner and the stock outer wheelhouses are going to be and are butt welded together. They are joined. I didn't break them apart, I just welded them up. Welded the seam on the inside to make one complete unit, and then the flange on top, I cut the flange off and moved the flange where it needs to be when I put the new outer on the original outer. So we have three wheelhouses making up now one complete wheelhouse. The reason I did it this way is because there's a lot less welding than the previous two times, and it's a stronger unit. And I'm going to check to make sure the camera's still rolling. and it is good. So I'm going to just talk you through it a bit. And this is the, maybe sort of difficult to see because it's black, but right here is the seam for the old joining of the original inner, which is here. The original outer is here, and then the new seam right here for the new outer, which is right here, begins there. So this is giving us about an inch more of width than is indicated by the DSE kit, and it's further down the frame. Now the other DSE kits, they indicate that there's supposed to be a gap between the wheelhouse, inner wheelhouse, and the frame. I felt that was a point of weakness and didn't need to be there. So I eliminated that step on the second car and this one, and brought this wheelhouse flush to the modified frame rail, which my hand is riding on right now. So this is welded on very nicely and very flushly and very properly, and it looks, I think it looks a lot better, and it should function a lot better than the stock ones. And of course even the aftermarket DSE. Here's the underside of the other side, I meant to say, not the downside, but, and these are new trunk drop-offs. Now, apologies for the camera focusing on my hand and the contrast, but I'll try to get the camera to adjust for the contrast on the inside so you can see the black undercoating. And here's the inside of the trunk. And I'm going to talk about those Y brackets in a minute. Now, as I said, the Y brackets I want to talk about. I repositioned these. I removed them and brought them closer together than they were stock. And I'm going to right the car so you can see proper orientation, what I'm referring to. Okay. Just give you a little bit more footage of the inside of the trunk. And just so you know, I repositioned the upper body panel struts, cut them in half, move them from here on the inboard. And let me talk about these Y brackets a little bit. I moved those in, and right here in the middle, welded them together. If you look at a stock Camaro, you'll see there's a big gap there in the middle. I think this just looks better, and it serves it's a stronger functioning system now than it was before, because this bracket right here and this bracket, this whole piece and this piece was one component. But since we have the Mini-Tub kit that comes inboard, and to chop that and extend it, so this piece of the bracket is in the same place it used to be, but it couldn't occupy the same space because this right here, let me reposition the camera, this area right here is where it was originally.
So I cut it and moved them, and then this had a gap here, so I made this plate and put that in there. Now the other side was a little bit different. Same principle was applied, but it's just a different shape, and they are left and right brackets for the Camaro. And I moved those Y brackets in, which if I get any more Camaros in to do this Mini-Tub kit, this is what I'll do. I'll do the same thing on those cars that I did on this one. Now the owner also came by and did the seam sealer, utilizing my seam sealer gun, which I bought, and let him do it. He spent several hours to do this. It takes a while to do the seam sealer, and that's the yellow stuff you see here. And he did it on the inside, of course, as you see, and then the underside, and of course along here on the inside of all these areas that could leak, along in here, along the wheel wells, over in there. You know, he did it everywhere, and then he applied this black stuff, the undercoating, and we get under here really good too. And this upper body panel, if you remember some of the videos of mine, this was all rotted and corroded and just damaged from previous attempts to repair it, because the previous owner replaced this upper body panel and they didn't fully tie it in underneath. They put it in, but it wasn't done as well as it could have been done. So I was able to fix that a little bit, which is good. It's always good to make something stronger. Makes it more safe. And you can see right here, this is what I was talking about, how the undercoating is a bit thick right there. But I wouldn't have put it on that thick in this location just because of the hinge mechanism. But it still works, so it looks good, and we're good to go. Now, what we're not going to do this time around is, because funding won't allow it, is the firewall will not be replaced, at least by me at this point in time. He might come in the future when we get some more funding, and we'll do that. We'll do these side plates and the cowl. The whole thing up front will be redone, and these are the old welds that previous owner was into, and they apparently did something on the inside of the firewall. They may change something or swapped it, but this whole thing will need to be changed out and replaced, because you can see all the rot and rust up here, the same places that I indicated on the last video. So, which is fine. The car is structurally sound, but he's going to go ahead and we'll have to do the whole front end at a later point in time, which is fine. That's how it goes. This is expensive work, folks, but it has to be done correctly, and I try to do it as correctly as I know how, and always do something better today than I did yesterday. That's the way I like to do things, and I always try to pass that along to what I'm working on, whatever it may be. So that is that. I will say goodbye. Tschüss, auf Wiedersehen. Have a good day, and we'll chat later. I'll make another video when the quarters are on and the car's ready to go back. Okay, bye.